Are you a real estate agent and you're wanting to learn how to door knock? This is the most requested episode that I get this time of year because most of you are wanting to get the lowest hanging fruit to finish out the year strong, and you're wanting to start the year and all this energy and excitement to door knock as a real estate agent comes alive again. So this is what we're going to break down. This will be the most in-depth episode that you ever see on YouTube in regards to door knocking. I recently was in California with a team that I'm coaching, and I was door knocking with them. You've seen me do this in Florida. I flew out there and door knocked with a bunch of real estate agents. I just did it in Arizona. I was out door knocking with them as well. I've done it in California, Vegas, Utah, Idaho, Cincinnati, Chicago, Louisville, Atlanta. The reason I'm doing this is because the skill set is still so alive within me. I still love it. I'm passionate about it. I haven't forgotten what it's like to be on the doors and prospect with people face to face. And so when I was in California, there were certain things that I noticed that I haven't taught here on YouTube before. So we're going to break all that down. There's 8 things that we're going to talk about today that you have to get really good at in order to go prospect door to door and convert as a real estate agent immediately. For example, I've got a real estate agent that I'm working with in Atlanta. He recently started working with me about 2 or 3 months ago, and then he joined the brokerage team about a month into that. And within 30 days, he had 3 under contract from knocking doors as a real estate agent. 3 buyers that he found, went to the lender, came back pre-approved, he showed homes and got them under contract. So if you're a real estate agent and you're watching this and you don't have the business you want and you need now business, you need quicker turnaround, you need more money in your bank account from transactions that are a lot quicker to move, to convert, then I would prioritize door knocking. But you have to get good at these 8 things that we're going to talk about. And as you do, your business will completely blow up. If you've been following me for the past year and a half, I've coached top realtors all over Canada that have absolutely crushed it knocking doors. I've coached realtors all over the US that have absolutely crushed it knocking doors. I worked with a realtor one-on-one in Indiana. It was his first year knocking doors, and he sold 57 homes as a real estate agent. I worked with a realtor that was out in California that had similar results. I worked with a realtor out in Texas that had similar results. I worked with a realtor in Atlanta that doubled his business from prioritizing door knocking. I worked with a realtor in Florida that has 20 active listings at almost all times of the year because he adds this to his book of business. I was even approached by a real estate agent in New Jersey that was doing 125 homes a year and wanted to do 200. And so he reached out, came to a seminar, signed up for coaching, and wanted to add an additional 75 homes a year by door knocking because he realized how efficient it was to prospect door to door. So grab your notes. I've got my lessons planned. We're going to go through 8 topics so you can get really good at prospecting door to door. All right, so welcome to this episode. Super excited to dive into this. If you don't have your notes or you haven't written down how to prospect door to door as a realtor, you'll take a ton of notes. This will be the most in-depth training that you'll get on this topic. Trust me, I guarantee that to you. I'm also going to give away 3 different ebooks that will help you get better at this for completely free. There's going to be different keywords for each. Make sure you watch for those. And when you get them, it'll help you prospect better door to door. It'll have scripts, strategy, and the books to read in order to get better at this. So why are we having this topic? Well, one, a lot of you reach out to me this time of year and you ask for this. And so for the past 2 years, I've done a new version of this as I've trained on it, as I've traveled across the nation and knocked with you in your markets. I've gotten sharper and better at how to present this to you so that you can go and convert deals. There's actually even 194 of you that have watched my door knocking episodes here on YouTube and now have sold 2 or more homes. And you reach out to me every time and it's the best. The real reason we're breaking this down though, is about a month ago, I opened up a worldwide free training class every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for 30 minutes. Doesn't matter your brokerage, doesn't matter the market you're in. You can hop on that call for completely free. And I train on these topics. We take a realtor that had a lot of success in a certain prospecting method. We talk about it, and then I show you how to replicate that within 72 hours. And those are the classes that we do. So if you want to get in that, comment down below, worldwide free training. I'll find you on Instagram, or you shoot me a DM on Instagram, or shoot me a text at 702-525-5766. I'll add you in that group, and these trainings are completely free. So make sure you hop into those. But a couple weeks ago, we had a realtor in Atlanta that's been working with me for a couple months, and he had 3 deals under contract within 30 days. And so we broke that down. We trained on how to replicate that. And that's what today's YouTube episode is going to be on. How to go get 3 deals in the next 72 hours by door knocking. And I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, so the first principle that you have to get really good at is you have to see yourself differently. You have to change the identity that you have. Most realtors are waiting for deals to come to them. When you start prospecting door to door, you are now a hunter. You're a sales carnivore. You're a lion that has to go hunt and eat what it kills. That mindset, that identity is different than what it takes for most real estate agents posting content, doing YouTube, on Teams, paying for leads, and waiting for deals to come to them, not prospecting door to door. So if you're stuck in this mindset, you cannot go out and try to prospect door to door. You have to change the view in which you have for yourself. A lion knows exactly what it must do each day to feed itself. It has a mission, a sense of urgency, a purpose to capture its prey, the gazelle. When a gazelle knows it must run to save its life every day, it's playing defense all day, trying to survive and defend itself from being eaten. A gazelle reminds me of someone who runs around like a crazy person with no sense of purpose, just running and trying to survive all day. So I'm going to give you a list of 10 books that I would go read and prioritize so you can shift this mindset. I'm going to give you 6 different pages to go follow, and then 3 different podcasts that you should listen to that'll help you shift this identity that you need to have in order to go prospect door to door. The first book is The Mountain Is You. The second is Brian Tracy, The Psychology of Selling. The third is Read People Like a Book. The fourth, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The fifth, Speed of Trust. The sixth, The Code of Trust. The seventh, Fanatical Prospecting. The eighth, Eat What You Kill. The ninth, Extreme Ownership. And the 10th, Atomic Habits. The pages that I would recommend you go follow is 1, Sam Taggart, 2, Danny Pesci, 3, Michael O'Donnell, 4th, Taylor McCarthy, 5th, Mazer Sales Training, 6th, Melissa Romisa, 7th, Female Knockers United, 8th, Door to Door Experts, and 9th, Doug Cartwright. These pages will help you shift the identity as you see them prospect door to door in different industries. And then the 3 podcasts that I would give you are the Door to Door podcast, Road to the Golden Door, and Door to Door. These 3 podcasts, if you put it in your ear while you're going out to prospect door to door, you're going to hear from the best of the best nationwide that are prospecting door to door right now in all the different industries. And as you listen to them, it'll shift your identity so that you can change the view in which you have for yourself to go hunt and eat what you kill. The second principle that you have to understand in order to get really good at door knocking is understand why it works. Why prioritize door knocking? Why go try it? Why are all these realtors crushing it all over the US and Canada? Because they're realizing that door to door is the quickest turnaround. Well, let's look at it. If you look at the data alone, 71% of realtors right now are not selling homes. In 2024, that's what happened. And so how are they getting deals? Well, let's break it down. 92% of realtors use Facebook to generate leads. The average monthly spending of lead generation has gone up and up and up over the last 20 years. The average cost per lead from paid search is $62, but the conversion ratio is 0.03% nationwide. Most realtors spend their time emailing, getting referrals, organic search, paid search, calls, and forms that they send out requesting information. But those are 3.5% conversion ratios, 2.7 conversion ratios, 2.2 conversion ratios, 2% conversion ratios, 1.7 conversion ratios. The conversion ratios are just not there. Whereas when you go prospect, you can put yourself in front of the right people deliberately, talk to them face to face at the right time of the day, and usually within an hour period of time, you can go get 2 to 3 investors, buyer deals, or set a listing appointment. I know that because I'm doing that. When I knock with you in your market, that's happening. When I was in California knocking with that team in the Bay, we knocked 2 days, 4-hour sessions, and the first day, within the first hour, we had 3 buyer deals. It was that simple. The issue, though, is in the real estate industry, a lot of people aren't actively doing this or don't have the track record to explain how to properly do that, hence today's episode. The third principle that you have to get really good at is the skill set. What skill set do I need in order to go prospect door to door? It's different than the phones. It's different than social media, than posting on YouTube. It's different than being on a team and paying for leads. So what is that skill set? Because again, if you've never shot a basketball and you've got zero training, you're going to step on the court and you're going to miss every single shot because you just simply don't understand how it works. And that's what happens in the real estate industry is there's a lot of coaches or platforms that have never done this that are training on it, and it doesn't work. So from someone that's done it for 15 years, that's actively prospecting with realtors to train them on this nationwide, these are the skills that I would go acquire to help you get better at prospecting door to door. There's 7 of them. The first one is discipline. Go read Extreme Ownership in order to master that. The second one is emotional regulation. Go read The Mountain Is You. That'll help you develop that skill. The third is people skills. Go read Speed of Trust, Code of Trust, and How to Win Friends with Influence People. The fourth is presentation skills. You have to look at door knocking as mini TED Talks on people's doorsteps. So go read the book, Talk Like Ted. The next skill, the fifth, is communication. Go read the book, The First Minute. This will help you understand how to present yourself quickly when you're on the doors. When I was with that team in California, the biggest piece of feedback that I got was, wow, you are really quick with people, getting their attention, getting them to engage. You pull them off their doorstep, you're pointing to the neighbors. In order to do that, you have to have that skill of communication. The sixth skill that you're going to need is body language. When you're on the doors, you're using your body, you're moving your shoulders, you're pointing to the neighbor's house, you're turning your body to show your phone. You have to understand how to use your body. I would go read People Like a Book. And the last one is sales skills. You have to understand sales. This is an industry based on sales. You're trying to help people get what they want. And in order to do that, you have to have a foundation based on sales skills. I would go read Brian Tracy's book, The Psychology of Sales. If you want to get even better at your skill set, I have a role play group. It's $249 a month, and we role play twice a day. In the mornings, we go over door knocking pitches, objections, and in the afternoon, we do listing presentations. I've seen multiple realtors come through that can't communicate to save their lives. No one can understand them. And within 30 to 60 days, they have 5, 6, 7, 8 under contract because they got better at communicating and role playing. If you want to get in that, comment role play, and I'll make sure I get that link out to you. Now, if we went through those skills pretty quick, I want to give you the first free ebook. Comment down below skill set and why you want it, and then shoot me a DM on Instagram or a text at 702-525-5766. I've got a whole ebook that'll break down what books to read and what skills to prioritize in order to go do really well prospecting door to door. Okay, the fourth principle is your state of being. I don't think many people talk about this because a lot of those proclaiming to be good at door to door and that are teaching on it haven't done it in over 10 years. And you forget the shaky, nervous feeling when you're getting out of the car to prospect door to door. You forget that you need to have a pre-knocking routine, ritual to help you lock in and regulate your emotions. Because again, most people don't have a real estate problem. They have a personal problem blocking their real estate performance. And it's really hard when you go knock doors to outperform a bad state. If you had a deal blow up or a relationship issue or something happen in the morning and you try to go present in front of people on their doors for 3 to 4 hours, it won't work. So you have to get really good at understanding emotional regulation. Everybody has 3 different states. You have your baseline state, your off state, or your peak state. And you have to get really good at figuring out how to maintain that peak state. So let me give you my best tips on this. If you look at Kobe Bryant, before every game, he would always have a ritual that would lock him in to be focused and intentional. He developed the name the Black Mamba. He could joke with you and laugh while he's shooting shots and practicing before the game, and then his whole demeanor would change when the game would begin. That's the exact same thing in order to knock doors as a real estate agent. I did a video on this a couple months ago, and it blew up because I had a cameraman come show you what this is like. If I've knocked with you in your market in Florida, Atlanta, California, Texas, Phoenix, Chicago, Louisville, Cincinnati, Idaho, then you've seen me do this. Every time we knock together, I do this routine with you. So you have to have a pre-knocking ritual. That's the advice number one. The second one is do hard things. You have to do something hard in the morning. So when you go prospect door to door, it's not the hardest part about your day. The third thing is you have to secure your self-worth outside of the results you get. When I knock doors, I don't care about the results. I'm going to knock for 3 hours. I'm going to go get 5 good leads. That's really the only thing that I track. A lot of you are tracking your success and you're basing your worth off of the results. You have to detach from that, and that'll help you a ton regulate your emotions. And then the last thing is while I'm knocking, I do these 5 things that help me stay in a positive state. 1, I move quickly. Number 2, I whistle to myself. It forces me to smile and puts me in a better mood. 3, when you park, go knock that neighbor's house and tell them you're going to park there and just make a joke. Make your first conversation friendly and start in a good spot. 4th, cut it up into sections. If you're going to knock for 5 hours, do 2.5, a break, and then 2.5. That'll make it so much easier on yourself. The 5th, talk positively to yourself as you're walking up the driveway. I'm a good human. I love people. I'm going to make a friend. And then as you're walking down their driveway, have some ritual where you wipe your feet, take off your hat, wipe your brow, breathe, and let it go. And then go to the next door. That'll help you a ton not carry all this baggage from all the doors and conversations you have throughout the day. And then the last one is focus on your inputs. Focus on what you can control and let everything else go. If you can do those things, plus the other 3 that I mentioned, it'll help you regulate your state because sales is a transfer of energy. And when you're in front of people, they can immediately feel that energy that you have. You cannot fake it. The next thing that you have to get really good is you have to be good at picking your area. What I mean by that? Well, there's a story in Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, of a gentleman that built a ladder to climb a wall to see how far he was from the destination he was going. So he spent all this time putting a ladder together, cutting down the wood, and then shaping it to build the ladder and then climb up the ladder, and took all this time and got to the top and realized, I'm in the wrong forest. My ladder is on the wrong wall. And a lot of times, real estate agents, you're knocking in the wrong areas. And that's why you're not converting. I've got countless examples of realtors I've worked with where I literally just picked them up, put them in a different area, and that's how they completely took off because they were around the right people that could convert more frequently. All right, so let's break this down really quick. How do you do this? So pull up your MLS. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the hot sheet. On the hot sheet, you're going to run a 24-hour test. Then you're going to pull up all the different categories and you're going to go to just sold. Now, why are we going to prioritize just sold? Imagine you're a neighbor and your neighbor's house just sold and it's the same square footage, same layout. Aren't you curious what that would have sold for? Aren't you going to start running those conversations in your head? Man, if we sold for that, what would we get? Where would we go? So the seed has already been planted. And it's also the easiest pitch in the world to go and talk to them in regards to what their house is now worth. So you're going to find a house in a neighborhood that's easy to knock, that has an easy layout, streets that are going up and down, so that you can go tell the neighbors that a house just sold for this price. Have you thought about buying, selling, or investing if you were to get a similar price for your home? That's it. And so you're going to go find a neighborhood. You need to know the price per square foot that it closed at. You need to know the homeowners' names so that when you pitch people, you can ask what their house, you can ask the size of their home, even get in their home, and you can pull up on your calculator and get a good rough idea what their house would be worth. Long term, you're going to want 8 to 12 of these types of neighborhoods in your market that you know there's frequent turnover and you also have knocked it before. And you know when one house sells, there's always another one that sells and there's always another one that sells because it's a transient type of area. Okay, the 6th principle is going to be manage your area. How do you manage your area? How do you organize yourself so it's not for nothing? When I was in California working with that team recently, that was one thing that they pointed out. Wow, you're slower, more organized, but I can see how this will help us convert because now we took the time to organize everything that we knocked. And that's how you have to look at managing your area is let's do it right the first way. So when we come back, it's a lot easier. So these are going to be my tips for you. There's 2 different softwares that I would recommend. One is SalesRabbit. I've used them every year for the last 15 years. It is hands down the best platform that you'll find if you're prospecting door to door. They've recently made a financial change for you to make it cheaper per month so that you can go and add this to the softwares you use as a real estate agent. The second one is Google Maps. This is completely for free. I'll literally walk you through real quick how to do this on Google Maps. What you're going to do is you're going to drop a pin on a house. You're then going to save it. You then can have different lists with emojis, a ghost for not home, a money bag for interested, an X for not interested, a phone for a callback. You can organize your entire area, and then you can even leave notes on each of those houses that you use. Now, outside of that, how do you actually strategize while you're knocking? There's 3 or 4 principles that I want to walk you through. One is called looping. So when you go up a street, you want to turn around and come back down that street. Why? Because every street changes every 30 minutes. And so the house without the cars now has the cars. The house with the 1 car now has 2 cars. You start to see this liveliness within the neighborhood. And it's so important that you stay put for that reason. When you go up one street and you're done, you're going to go to the next street and do the exact same thing. You're going to walk in the middle of the street. Why? Because it creates curiosity. People are going to look out their windows and say, why is that realtor or why is that person walking in the middle of the street? You're going to wave to cars as they come by. You're going to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in that neighborhood. The second strategy is what houses to knock. You're not going to knock door to door to door to door. Don't do that. You're going to be very selective and picky. Remember, when you start knocking, you have a tank of energy. You want to be very careful and not exhausting that tank because you'll usually go home early, quit, or check out. So what you're going to do is you're going to prioritize garages open. If there's no garages open down that street, you're going to prioritize 2 cars. If there's no 2 cars, you're going to prioritize 1 car. But make sure it's parked closest to the door because the homeowner always parks closest to their door. So if the car's not there and it's on the other side, don't knock that. If there's no cars, literally down the entire street, look for tire marks going into the garage because that means that they park inside the garage. And if there's none of that, then keep going. You don't want to knock every door because your tank is going to get exhausted by every door that you knock and no one responds. All right, the second to last is going to be the pitch. Well, what do I say? If you followed me for a while, I have multiple videos on this where I break down the pitch in different scenarios, the scripts, how to handle the objections. I also just built an exclusive ebook for those that are in the role play coaching group or that are on the brokerage team. If you want the generic version of that, that'll at least give you the basic script to get started, comment door knocking script below, and I'll make sure I get that out to you. So at least you have these scripts written down with the psychology and the pauses so that you have a good foundation. Essentially, there's 2 different types of pitches. There's the generic one and there's the just sold pitch. The generic one is super simple. You're going to simply say, hi, Jeremy with Real. Sorry to bug you. I'll be really quick. Did any of the neighbors tell you I was coming by? Cool. No worries. Look, real estate market is pretty crazy. Have you thought about buying, selling, or investing in real estate by the end of the year? They're going to say, no. Cool. Well, look, this is a beautiful home. Would you say this is your forever home? And they'll comment. And you say, okay, would you see yourself moving in like 6 to 12 months? Or is this like a 4 to 5 year thing? They'll then comment and you say, okay, well, just out of curiosity, like what's different then that's not happening now? They'll respond, then say, well, look, if I could get you that plus pocket you $40,000 to $50,000, would you be against hearing about how to do that? Pause. They're then going to respond. You're going to go deeper into the conversation, or they're going to say no, and now you're going to ask for referrals. So either way, you're going to set the appointment at the end, or you're going to ask for referrals. If you ask for referrals, it's pretty simple. You're going to look at the brain as if it's a filing cabinet. You're going to get them to pull out a file to give to you. It'll look like this. Well, hey, you know the neighborhood better than I do. Would you mind helping me out real quick? Turn your body. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate by the end of the year? You're going to ask that one time, let their brain start going. They'll probably tell you nobody. Then keep your body turned. You're then going to say, any renters, people that are downsizing, babies that were just born that might want to upsize, and look at the other houses. They'll then respond to you. And then you're simply going to say one more time, well, what about the gym or family or friends or other people you know outside of your neighborhood? And then they're going to respond. If they do give you one, you're simply going to say, hey, cool. Well, great. Let me give you my phone number and my business page. And in case they ever bring it up, at least you have that information for them. Once you give the information because you've given value, Now you can ask for their phone number. And hey, real quick, so that way I can answer the phone when they call and give them world-class treatment. Is their phone number an 801 or a 435? You're going to do an option close right there. Take out your phone and put in their phone number. That's the generic pitch. Really simple. Make sure you comment for the generic packet for that. If you want the full one that has all the scripts and what do you do if someone says no soliciting, I'm not interested, get off my doorstep, then you can go buy that packet on my website or get into role play and we practice it every day. The second pitch is the just sold pitch. You're going to simply say, hey, Jeremy with Real, sorry to bug you. I'll be really quick. Did any of the neighbors tell you that I was trying to catch you today? They'll say no. Cool. Well, did you see what happened like in your neighborhood? Come here real quick. It's John and Sally down the road. They're the one with the big pink car and they're like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So they actually are the ones that listed their house about a month ago. You remember the sign going up and they're like, yeah. Did you see what happened? No. And you're simply going to say, yeah. So they actually ended up selling that for $549,000. Pause to wait how they respond. So look, market's pretty crazy. A lot of neighbors are asking what their homes are now worth. Are you moving in the next 3 to 6 months? Would it be worth your time for me to come back and give you a free home evaluation? Because now everybody's value on their home has changed. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, that would be really cool. And so then you're going to try to get in the home. Cool. Well, let me step in real quick before my next appointment and we can just schedule this. Because remember, you're a pest on the door. You're a guest inside the home. So I'm going to try to transition in right there and then close it and set the appointment. A lot of people aren't interested. So you go back to the referral pitch and you move on. So that's the pitch. Really simple. There's really only two ways to pitch it. The third way is an open house pitch. If you want that one, go ahead and comment open house pitch and I'll shoot you a voice message on Instagram. So that way you can transcribe it and walk through it. All right. So the last principle that you have to get really good at is the follow-up game. We're spending all this time outside and we're talking to people door to door, but how do we follow up with them? When we cold call, we put them into a CRM. When we do YouTube and Instagram, we put them into a CRM. So wouldn't it make sense that door knocking is the exact same? And yes, it is. So what I'm gonna have you do is go back and watch the YouTube episode where I talk about follow-up. In that episode, there's a packet that I give on follow-up that'll break down the entire process. There's 129 of you that have reached out for that since that episode is launched. Make sure you get that because now you'll see how to wrap this up and follow up with your leads from door knocking. All right, so grab your notes. That was probably, I'm looking at my watch, the most in-depth, quickest training that you'll ever find on YouTube in regards to the 8 principles that you have to get really good at in order to go blow your business up from door knocking. I did it. I sold 75 homes my first year doing this. I've trained realtors all over the US, all over Canada on how to do this. I coached a realtor in Singapore that literally got on an elephant, that got on a boat to go find a neighborhood to knock doors from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And within 4 months of doing that, he had 17 active listings from door knocking. It does not matter what market you're in, your background, follow those 8 principles, get the free ebooks that I gave out in this episode, and I guarantee that your business will completely take off.